League Fantasy Football. This is the Beer League Fantasy Podcast. Beer League?
Beer League.
I'm your host, Tyler Rose, and I'm joined by my great friends, Tanner Higgins and Cody Butts. We got a special episode ready for you guys today. We're going to go through a bunch of topics that we've listed out. Got some great information, some rest of season stats, some predictions that we have, some of our opinion, obviously. First, we're going to start out with our rest of season studs. And I'll go ahead and go first. My rest of season stud is going to be Sony Michel. So Sony Michel was behind Rex Burkhead and James White for a little bit. He wasn't getting a lot of production the first couple of weeks. But he actually had a breakout game. He had 112 rushing yards and 1 touchdown. He didn't have any receiving yards, but it didn't really matter. They absolutely smoked the Dolphins. They made a statement there. They made a statement that they were going to use him too, and I love him. I think, honestly, the draft capital that they spent on him, they spent a first-round pick on him. I don't see how they weren't going to use him throughout the season. So I got him in a couple leagues, and I really like him that way. He was just a hold for a couple weeks, and now he's coming to fruition. I think he's honestly like a plug-and-play, like an RB2. I don't think you can count him as your RB1 because he's going to have some dud games because he doesn't have that receiving back floor that some other backs are going to have. Like James White's going to be that receiving back for the Patriots if they're throwing. But when you are on a high-powered offense like the Patriots and people who can get it done in games every single week, don't really put up absolute dud of games, you want to own that back. And sometimes in the past for the Patriots, it's been hard to know which back to own. Like it could be one back this week, the other back another week. But I think he's going to be the back to own in that backfield. And I really think he's going to make people's teams a lot better and hold your team up, until you make even through the playoffs. I think he's a plug-and-play guy. I mean,
Yeah, I think Sony Michel, this is my opinion of Sony Michel, they will not be using him in the red zone, but he is a great back for outside of the red zone. That's what I saw from the game.
Oh, he's an everything back.
That's what you think? Because they seem to be putting James White in the red zone. That's what I saw at least. Because I was watching Sony.
A lot of third and long, third.
Sony Michel's definitely their power back, though. I mean, if they're on the goal line, they're going to hand it off. I'd be surprised if they give it to White over Sony Michel. But they could. I mean, they could. It happens. People do that all the time.
It was my observation.
No, you're right.
No, I mean,
you're saying it for a reason. Yeah.
I think Sony Michel. Like I say, he's all around. He's an all around back. He's the best back that they've had in New England, in my opinion, or will be in a while. Mm-hmm. And I just think he has so much potential, and I think you picking him up in those leagues is really smart. Yeah. He's going to get more volume as the weeks come on. He just is. And so I totally agree with with him. Big time.
All right. Tanner, take it away.
So the player that I chose is Calvin Ridley. Maybe reaching a little bit for this one, but I do think that the guy has a lot of potential. I mean, he's shown us a lot. I definitely think that he's going to take a little bit of a dip. He's not going to. I mean, he's the number one receiver right now, which is stunning. I mean, people probably wouldn't believe that if I told them.
I didn't when you first told me before the show. I really didn't.
Exactly. I think that just being at Atlanta is a great place for him to be successful because of just the way their offense works. And I think that Julio just draws so much attention that it really opens up the field for him. Yeah. And maybe it's not quite like we were talking about Thielen and Diggs, kind of like their duo and how each of them are pretty equal as far as like automatic starts, almost wide receiver ones, really. I wouldn't go as far as to say that, but I definitely think that he's a receiver on a team who's the second wide receiver that can potentially be a start in the future. And I mean, he's a baller. So he's definitely going to take a little bit of a dip, but I do think that Matt Ryan likes throwing to him and will continue to hit him for targets.
I think that Atlanta defense is terrible, and they're just going to have to be airing out the ball all the time to just keep up games. Like, they're going to have to score 40 points or more to win a game, like, because their defense just
Right.
literally can't stop anybody.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, Matt Ryan did just come off of a 40-point game
Yeah.
against Saints, so that
no, I agree.
And I think that was the same game Calvin Ridley went.
For sure, he dropped 30 points in the last game.
Yeah, no, Matt Ryan's been doing
Yeah.
fucking amazing
He
this year.
I agree. He's an awesome quarterback. Like, I kind of wanted him. Like, in some leagues, I was like, man, I didn't get him in any leagues. But he was one guy I was like, man, I think his stock is pretty low. I was like,
At the beginning
I was
of the
like,
season,
he was
tell you
underrated.
I was like, wow. I was like, he would go undrafted in some places. I was like, wow. I was like, to like the ceiling of what that guy can do. I was like, I was surprised people weren't taking him. But I was like, that gives all the more reason as to why you shouldn't take a quarterback early. But I mean,
Yeah.
it's this exact thing. We're like the top three quarterbacks, and we're getting our quarterback thing. But the top three quarterbacks are they were all undrafted people, like Goff, Matt Ryan, and Patrick Mahomes. Probably went undrafted in most leagues. Like, another top three quarterbacks this year. Anyway, we'll get to that later. But Cody, go ahead and take away with your pick.
So my rest of season stud is Alvin Kamara. Currently, he's the number one running back with about 100 points in just 4 games, so that's about 25 points per game. I think even though Ingram is coming back, he's still going to have the production he's been having with him coming back. So he's very hot. He's going to stay hot. He'll be a good player for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's going to deny that Kamara can be a good person. I think the only people's concern is that what you kind of brought up is Ingram's gonna come back, and Ingram's such a talent that it's hard to think that they don't give him something. Like, they're just not going to not use Ingram.
Right.
So it's
but they're not gonna just not use Kamara either.
Right.
That's the thing. I mean, in my opinion, I think they should trade off Ingram, but
well, they're gonna let him go right out his contract, and he's not gonna stay there next year.
oh right, absolutely.
Yeah.
And he's gonna go sign somewhere else. But
Yeah. I agree. I have Mark Ingram in one of my leagues coming back this week. I am looking forward to starting him because he gives me a better option than what I have. I don't have over, I can't even remember who I was starting in my second running back, but it was not, I don't even know the name. So I don't think that he's going to affect Kamara. I think Kamara, like last year, both of them, I'm pretty sure were top 5 running backs.
yeah, I mean, they were both studs at the same
And
time.
It
On the same
worked.
team.
They were both happy. The only reason that I feel like it worked is because they were winning.
Yeah.
And I feel like if the Saints were losing, that Mark Ingram would bitch. Like, he's just been known when Adrian Peterson was there and they had to split carries. He didn't like it. Neither one of them liked it. It didn't work. They both were sour about it. But I think that since Kamara's been there for 4 games, I think he plays even more than he did last year. I don't even think they split even. I think it's going to be like 70-30.
It could be, yeah.
Like, why would you not play Kamara for? You can use him for every down.
Yep.
Every down,
He's a no-brainer,
any place on the field. It doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, you might want to put Mark Ingram in for some more goal line situations, I
Right.
guess. He's not that much bigger.
Yeah.
But, yeah, Kamara, I wish I would have chose Kamara over Le'Veon Bell. I'm being dead serious. Oh my
Well,
god. Maybe even if Le'Veon was playing right now. I don't know. Kamara, he looks good. He
He's
looks
very
really good.
Yeah. And that's the thing is that, what would you say if somebody was to ask you, be like, well, I have some back or something like that I want to play, but I have Mark Ingram that I can play. Should I wait a week, or should I just plug him in, play him, and go for it? Like, do you advise people to play him if they have the spot for him? Like, would you play him over like an Alex Collins? Would you play him over?
It depends on who it
You know what
is.
I mean?
It depends on who it is.
Yeah.
Alex Collins, that's iffy.
Yeah.
Maybe not. It would have to be, to me, it would have to be like I don't know, like in my situation, Matt Breida,
Mm-hmm.
that might be like the cut line at like a running back like that.
I'd probably play him over Matt Breida.
Yeah, same.
To be honest. I think Breida's done well, but I'd probably play Ingram over
Yeah.
Breida.
I mean,
I think it's a safer floor.
I think it is safer.
Yeah.
Better team too. So
All right. So moving on, some news that we got about Le'Veon. This has been a constant thing this entire season. I'm sure it will not end. But Le'Veon is projected to come back week 7, correct? After their bye
Yeah.
week 6.
I think their bye week is 7.
Oh, their bye week is 7, so he comes back week
Yeah.
8. Okay.
Right.
So, what do you make of that? I mean, obviously, if you have him on your team, now you gotta hold him. You gotta hold him if he's on.
Or
your
you
team.
trade him for something really
Yeah,
good.
well, you're right. He
right
had,
before week 7.
his value
Or
kind
week
of peaked.
It
a little
depends
bit,
on
so
what
you
you
get a little bit more.
It
for it.
depends on what you need.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that if you need like receivers,
And you've already got the back.
and you already you're comfortable with your backs, it might be a good idea.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, you'd be able to get a stud for Le'Veon.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you should be able to.
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean, I'm gonna hold him. I'm gonna try. I need my situation. I'm good at receiver. I need a running back. I really need a running back, even if it's, like I said earlier, even if he's not to what his Le'Veon standards are, I still need a good running back. And so I'm holding him.
Do you think there's any fair 1-for-1 trades with Bell and a receiver at this point in the season?
Just the ceiling of Bell is just so high. You got to ask for like a top 7 receiver.
A top 7? I would almost say top 4.
What?
See, I wouldn't trade, like, if I had Michael Thomas, I'm not going
Don't
to trade
even-
him straight up.
Don't even go.
Earlier, you were not even interested.
I'm not
You-
interested in Le'Veon. I am not, because he's going to come back to the Steelers and they are not going to play him. That's my personal
They're
opinion.
going to play him.
They're going to play him.
He's
But
going to
they've got James Conner, man. Like what are they? They're just not going to play James Conner. They're going to still use James Conner, man.
Hey, I'm just telling you, when
I mean-
Le'Veon comes back, James Conner is going. I mean, they're going to play him. He's going to play, but trust me, it's his minutes are going to go exponentially down if Le'Veon's actually playing, and if he's in shape. Le'Veon's going to play.
No, I agree.
It's what happened to, like, what was it a couple years ago? I think it was Le'Veon was hurt. I think he might have been suspended, but I think he was hurt actually for 4 games. No, I think he was hurt. And D'Angelo Williams
Yeah.
played for him. Same situation.
Yeah.
Started the season, was amazing.
Yeah, but Le'Veon has left a bad mojo on the
I
Steelers
know,
team,
but
man.
they don't want to lose, man. They're losing.
I understand
Yeah.
that, but I don't know.
They're losing. They're
See, if
not
I'm on
doing
that
well.
team, I'm not very happy that he's coming back. I'm like trade him.
I'm
You know
sure
what?
that's the case for a lot of people, yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if they work out a deal. Maybe I'm the only one saying this, but I think deep down in Le'Veon's heart, he actually kind of likes the Steelers.
Yes, he likes the Steelers.
He likes the Steelers. He just wants money.
We need to put that crying man deep down in my heart. We should put that. No, I mean, we just have to watch and wait and see what happens with Le'Veon. That's the thing. Like, we really can't tell at this point in the season. Like, and with the news that we have, all we know is he's coming back week 8.
No, I
well,
agree.
week 7, but
It's tough, man, because the thing is, when he comes back, I'm telling you, like, you can play him that week 8 or whatever, but he's not going to be productive until like week 9. Like, I don't think he's going to come back that first week and just world beat it and just I don't even know who they play.
He's never had.
but-
He's not done that before.
Yeah, I think it's going to take him
It
at least
takes
a week to get adjusted.
It takes him a while.
Nah. I mean, you can't. I wouldn't even try to play either of the Steelers backs that week.
even with them being on a bye week and having all that practice before.
Probably not.
No,
Okay.
you're going that long.
Yeah,
Like
I mean,
he's been with the Steelers all summer
Yeah.
long.
He's been on vacations?
they have a new. The thing is,
There's a
though,
rumor he's been on vacations.
oh, he has.
He has been.
He's been running around jet skis.
Yeah.
Says he's working out twice a day, but he's been on vacation.
Bullshit. Anyway, the thing is, though, is what I think a factor that people are not looking at with this Steelers offense, with Bell coming back. They have a new offensive coordinator in that system. Bell has not been around him at all. So it's like, how is he going to get accustomed to him in that system? Like, it seems like they run kind of the same system. They might be passing a little bit more than what they used to, but that could be because they don't have Bell.
Yeah.
And they have Juju and Antonio Brown. But I'm just saying that is a factor, and he doesn't, like, offensive coordinator's not going to come in and just keep the same system the old one was running. They're going to do their own thing.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just a thing to keep in mind.
Yeah, I didn't think about that.
Yeah. So, and also with Josh Gordon. Josh Gordon made his debut last week with the New England Patriots. I think he had 2 catches for like 30 yards around there. Nothing crazy impressive. He didn't go out and light the world on fire, but it was good to see him out there, I think.
And people were excited to watch him out there.
Yeah.
Like that was the thing. Like people,
Yeah.
he caught his first ball and you could just like hear. I mean, we're watching it over TV, but you could hear everybody yelling and screaming, like excited to watch him play because he's gonna change. He's not gonna change the Patriots, but he's going to give the Patriots something they haven't had in a while, and that's a really good wide receiver.
I agree. I think they're gonna use him. He's just gonna take a week or two or a couple weeks to get into the system, and by then you're gonna be able to rock in solid wide receiver. I mean, even though Edelman's coming back, Edelman can't do what Josh Gordon can do.
Not at his age. Not
even close.
Do you think Josh Gordon is going to start bringing Tom Brady's stock up? Because I know we're going to talk about quarterbacks later on in the podcast, but do you think Josh Gordon here in 2 or 3 weeks brings Tom Brady's stock up?
I think
It would, especially with Edelman coming back.
I think it
both
has
of
to.
them probably help a little bit.
I think it has to. It can't hurt him.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, Gronk's a little bit beat up right now, but we've seen Tom Brady succeed without Gronk before. I mean, he won a freaking Super Bowl without Gronk. I mean, he did just fine. Like, he doesn't need Gronk to succeed like that. It just makes him throw the wide receivers a little bit more, which honestly helps them out too. So, but all right, that's just a person to keep your eye on. If you wanted to trade for him, I'd say you could, because his price isn't super high right now. And if you believe in him and you want him and you think he's going to do well, maybe it's a person. If you need wide receiver help, there's a lot of people. There's worse people I could think of that you'd have to start out there. But you're taking a risk on him, but high risk, high reward. So next on, we got Odell Beckham. So Odell came in this season, got paid, and was drafted on most people's teams as a top 3 receiver, like late first round, early second round, pretty much in every single draft. Now he's the wide receiver 22, ranked right now. What do you make of that? I mean, you got to plug and play him. You ain't got a better option out there.
I was listening to First Take today. They're talking about that. They're talking about Odell, and he's actually got quite a few targets and receptions. He just hasn't found the end zone, and I've heard different. So I haven't watched the Giants closely enough to like assess what the issue is. I've heard some people say, "Oh, well, their line still is not that great." And then I hear people saying, "Oh, well, Eli Manning he just sucks now. He's just old. He sucks. He just can't get it to him." So I can't make an assessment of one or the other, but I wouldn't fret about it too much because, I mean, I just think he's going to pick up the pace.
I definitely don't think we put the blame on Odell. I think
No,
that is a safe assumption.
Yes.
Is to not put the blame on Odell because I think Odell absolutely has the talent. He has the talent. He could be that top 5 wide receiver, but you say he's getting targets, but they just must not be the right targets or they're pressured targets.
He just can't find the end zone. That's all there is to it. And I mean,
I think
makes a
that'll
big
come.
difference. Yeah, I agree. And I think Saquon, Saquon's got to affect his production a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, they have a great running back now, and you need to feed him the ball, and the offense needs to operate through him. And even if you want to say Odell's a better player, which you can probably say that right now, you just need to go through the running back. So I think it has a little bit to do with it as well.
No, it definitely does. I think because Eli Manning's kind of become like a Charlie checkdown almost and going to. But I think that with Evan Ingram going out, I think this is going to help Odell's production a little bit the next couple weeks while Ingram's out. Like him and Sterling Shepard as well. I think are going to be, they're just going to get more targets in every facet of the game. So, all right. So on to our big topic of quarterback troubles. There is trouble in the air. In most people's leagues, the top 2 quarterbacks that were drafted were Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers. Both of them have not even come close to their draft capital.
Pissing me off.
And a lot of people, I've heard it from so many different sources and people that are saying like they're actually really upset with Rodgers because they spent such a high pick on him. You could have got like a good wide receiver running back with it for sure. But you went and drafted his quarterback expecting him to go out and light the world on fire, and he's just been average, or like even maybe a little bit below average almost, dare I say. Like,
Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure he's like, I don't even know. It's like
Okay.
the 15th quarterback right now. Go ahead.
No, I hate to stop you,
No,
but
you're fine.
Aaron Rodgers, this is the thing. There's 3 main things. He doesn't have a running back. He's got Aaron Jones coming back.
mhm.
Has he
He
ever
has-
really? I mean,
No.
No, but that he maybe in the
Eddie
past.
Lacy.
Eddie
In the
Lacy at
beginning.
one point, yeah. All right, anyway, he doesn't have a receiving core. I really don't think he has a very good receiving core. They got rid of Jordy Nelson, which was his number 1.
that's debatable. I mean, yeah, I don't know why they got rid of Jordy Nelson, but
It really doesn't make sense to me. And he's had a bum knee. I mean, as a quarterback, it's hard to throw far with a bum knee.
It's clearly affected him.
It has to be. There's no reason for him
Yeah,
to
I
be
agree.
doing or putting out the performance that he has been with, how good he is. Like,
But you know what? He needs to just he just needs to sit out then so I can just know to start Matt Ryan. Because even with his bum knee, you still got to freaking start him. Because you just have to.
it is
Aaron
Aaron Rodgers.
And I just wish he sat out. I just wish he was just literally ruled out for the last 2 games. I probably would have had 2 wins right now instead of 2 losses back to back.
Do you
Tired of
start
that 15 points per game crap.
for
That's really
the
what he's doing.
foreseeable future? Do you start Aaron Rodgers or Jared Goff?
You have to start Rodgers.
Okay. But Goff is ranked the freaking
Like,
number
if-
3
if-
quarterback right now. And he's
I know.
doing awesome.
But this is my thing.
Rams are a way better team. Sometimes that's all that matters.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I agree. I'm going to continue to start Rodgers.
You have to.
I
but-
agree. I'm just playing devil's advocate, but yes.
Yeah, no, I understand. Like, if Aaron Rodgers didn't have his name, I would definitely start Jared Goff. But Aaron Rodgers and Aaron Rodgers, you can't not start him because he's gonna break out. He's gonna break out. He's gonna have a really good game, and then he's gonna have a great rest of the season. That's what's gonna happen.
He played the Bills last week, and I'm thinking, finally, he plays the Bills. Like, he's going to score at least 25. He scores 14 and fumbles like three. I'm pretty sure like 3 turnovers. So I'm sure he fumbled it once.
I didn't know that.
He fumbled it once for sure, and he threw a pick. And I'm pretty sure he either fumbled again or threw another pick. It was one or the other. I can't remember. I'm pretty sure he turned the ball over 2 or 3 times though. I was like, oh my gosh.
Damn.
Yeah. But they still won. They shut him out. It was still like 19-0 or something like that.
Oh yeah, it wasn't even a game. That Bills offense, man, they can't do anything. I think they're gonna have 1 win on the season, and that was probably against one of the best teams in the NFL. Which is gonna make no sense. But I really like the way that they played. They might. I shouldn't lie. They'll probably get about maybe 1 or 2 more wins. But that Green Bay defense is not good, and they couldn't do anything against them at all. They couldn't move the ball whatsoever.
No.
It's like, man, I mean, I think Josh Allen helps that team out a little bit, but they got to find the rhythm or something, like, because they're just not doing it. It's just not happening.
So on the topic of quarterback troubles, what do you guys think of Tom Brady? He hasn't been doing very hot either. I mean, these are literally your top 2, quarterback picks from the draft, and they're just doing, what you would expect a rookie quarterback to do.
I mean,
which they're veteran quarterbacks.
At some point, we have to be realistic about Tom Brady.
Yep.
Like, it's not like he's gonna drop 30 points a game and then one season until he retires, like until the day he hits 44, he's going to score 40 points or 30 points a game. We're almost expecting him to produce the same production year over year until he's 50 years old. Like it's just not going. It's not going to happen. He's got to slow down at some point. Maybe this is the year. I think it probably is.
Do they have a new offensive coordinator? Because
No, it's
No.
new
New
defense.
defense.
defensive. Okay.
Yeah. So, the thing is though, is if you look back and you read some articles about Brady and why I tried to like stay away from him. Usually I was a Brady truther for years ago. I mean, I loved him. I tried to give him every single fantasy league I possibly could because that was when his prime and he was a monster. But it comes a time where you start to look at the stats and we've talked about this before on the podcast that like old guys in the NFL, like as the season progresses, they start to fall off. Like they really do.
Yeah.
They start off hot, they do really well, and you think they're just fine, and then you trust them so much, you build their team around them, and then they just kind of disappoint you, like in the fantasy playoffs. And I think that's what Brady's going to do this year. Like I just don't know if he's going to be able to keep it up. I hate to say that about him. I mean, he's one of the best of all time, but it's like I would try to get a backup option, or I'd try to trade him right now. Like after he just had a good game, I try to flip him. Like for somebody that needs a quarterback or whatever, like because Brady still got the name value, and I would just get rid of him and just get something for him, and just pick up a quarterback. I mean, there's so many quarterbacks on the waiver wire you can grab, and make your team a little bit better. But
That's the thing though, is I've a couple of times I've told you guys, I was like, you guys want anything for Rodgers? And no one responds. I almost think that it's almost impossible unless someone really needs a quarterback, unless you like need a quarterback. Like no one's willing to trade for a quarterback.
Yep.
And one thing that I've learned this year, and I think for future drafts, I think I want to change is I'm not going to reach for a quarterback anymore. I'm not going to do it because it's pointless. It really is. Like you can pick off someone off the waiver, their points, their production, unless you're really picking somebody off like I don't know, someone's really average year to year. I feel like with any quarterback, you kind of get just random production all the time, and it doesn't really matter who you have, like as long as they're not like just so average. But
Yeah.
like I'm not gonna reach for them anymore. It's pointless.
yeah,
It's not.
I think this year's been kind of a wonky year for quarterbacks. There's a bunch of
Yeah.
people that people thought would do well, but they didn't think they'd do this well so far. There's like people that were like drafted really high, like even Russell Wilson. Like as much as I love him, like he just hasn't been doing great this year. I mean, he has been doing. He's had a couple good games, but I don't know. He's just not as good as what he once was for right now. I think
Last year he was a boss.
Yeah, I think he'll turn it around though. To be honest, like now he's going to get Baldwin back and he'll be ready to go. But they have a new offensive coordinator. I think they're still working out the kinks of he's trying to figure out how to use Russell Wilson, and Russell Wilson's just a beast of his own and his own little talent. So, all right. So, moving on to tight ends. The tight end pool is a
Mess right now.
disaster. I mean, it's pretty
bad.
It's pretty bad. Like you want to know who the number one freaking tight end is on the season?
No, Tanner, why don't you tell
Yeah.
us?
Jared Cook.
Jared Cook. You imagine we'd be saying that week 4 that Jared Cook's number one tight end in fantasy football?
No.
Not even close. So the thing is though, is like the top 3 tight ends that were drafted were Gronk, Kelsey, Ertz. And all 3 of them have been good. Like they haven't been bad.
Yeah.
I mean, but it's like you have Jared Cook, who was undrafted in pretty much every single league, who's number one tight end right now. And like Jimmy Graham is like, people say he's like a top 5, maybe top 6 tight end. And he's like ranked like 14th right now. Because he just now got a touchdown last week. I think that's his problem. I think he's pretty touchdown dependent. Like he'll get a lot of touchdowns, but if you don't get one, he's not going to do awesome. But so this tight end landscape, what do you do with it? Like if you had Delaney Walker and you drafted him, or if you had Greg Olsen, and then you went down and you went on the waiver wire, and luckily you got Eifert, and then he held you out for like 2 games, and now he just blew out his ankle. Like what do you do? Like, I mean, you got to start somebody in that spot. Like who are you going to start?
I would just start
You know what I mean?
throwing random tight ends off because
Yeah.
you're expected to at some point get a touchdown from one of them.
Do you like trust Vance McDonald to carry your team?
No.
Like,
If you don't trust to carry your team, that might be the only literally the
Yeah.
only option.
you trust like Safarian Jenkins? Like, I mean, these names are not sexy at all. Like, to go out there, I would not feel comfortable starting either of those people. Like, I mean, but you might be forced to. And what like,
I don't know.
or do you go trade for a tight end? Do you think it's
There's-
valuable enough to go and trade for one?
I'm telling you what, there's not much there.
Yeah.
When you go look on our waivers, we're in the 10 person leagues, and
Mhm.
there's not much there. In one league that I'm not with you guys, but I had Delaney Walker. He went down, obviously. It was a 14 person league, so there was really no one there at all. When I went after that, I got Bisley for the Seahawks. Ended up having a couple of really good games just randomly. He goes down. There is no in this league. There is no one. I might not even start a tight end because there is no one. I mean, obviously, I would, but, there is literally no one. Like, I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. No one at all. And I don't know. I hope Vance McDonald's there. I hope.
You say this is a 14-person league?
Yeah.
So this is a league that you don't compete with us against?
No.
I can give you some advice. If you want me to tell you somebody, go pick up Tyler Croft from the Bengals. I bet you.
Oh, yeah.
I bet
I've
you
heard
he's
that.
still-
I've heard that.
I bet you
a
he's
lot.
still there, and he's going to be a more viable option than anything else you're going to be able to find.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Yeah.
I would go pick
That's
him.
actually pretty good.
Now, some people are like, whatever the heck his name is. Who's the other tight end that's for the Bengals? Somebody like
or something.
something like that. Some people are like, oh, his snap counts are better than Tyler Croft's, and I'm like, no. We've seen I forget hurt, and we've seen who they use. They use Tyler Croft's. Like that's
Yeah.
that guy does not.
Or if Njoku is still out there, which he's
Njoku's not gonna be
Yeah,
out
he's not gonna be out there, but he's been getting a lot more snaps.
No, I agree. And he's
Well,
gonna be much better than Baker's I think. He's gonna get
Which is funny. I said that at the beginning of this, very first podcast. I said Tyrod and Baker will be targeting Njoku a lot. I just want to say that.
yeah, but I don't think Tyrod.
Yeah, he's still only putting up like 3 points a game.
Yeah, he
still
has
Yeah,
not
he's
done
not been
anything
doing very hot, but they have been targeting him, and he's been getting like 5 yards at a time. That's about it.
Yeah, with that tight end landscape, I mean, you just gotta do with what you can. If you can trade for somebody and somebody has like 2 or 3 tight ends, I know some people do that, which is super weird. I would never do that. I'd max 2. I mean, just to hold on to them if it's like this bad on the waiver wire. But I would maybe try and target somebody who's like in the bottom part of your league, 0-4, 1-3 right now, and they're trying to look for an asset. Give them a decent wide receiver for a decent tight end. At least it'll hold your team above water. I mean, if you're willing to give them up, I wouldn't be ashamed to trade for a little bit undervalue for a decent tight end like that's there to go get. All right. So a fun fact that Cody actually found, and I think you just did the math yourself.
Yep.
It's from the Rams and Minnesota game. If you would have started every single Rams player in all of your positions, correct?
Yep.
Like even like tight end and defense and everything else, you would have scored 144 points in fantasy.
And
that's
still,
a standard.
that's
It's
only
standard.
starting.
That's
That's
not
only
PPR.
starting Todd Gurley. That's not starting a second running back.
That jeez.
Because I mean, who's their second running back?
I don't even know.
I mean,
It doesn't matter.
Yeah. So you could have still started another stud running back and played the whole Rams offense. Because I mean, I bet you, besides Todd Gurley and maybe Jared Goff, like who has other players on the Rams offense? Like maybe 20%
No, you're right. But wow, that is
availability.
that literally speaks to how good this Rams offense and team is.
Oh yeah.
They're so good.
Yeah.
Like it's stupid.
It's fun to watch. They just make it
They
look
are
easy,
very-
man. Literally just go down the field. It's like defenses just don't even have a chance.
No.
They don't even get a blink. Just blink and they're gone. It's like
They have such good receivers, and it's like, okay, we're gonna stop Todd Gurley, make Golf beat us.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, well, yeah, then you're gonna have Brandon Cook streaking down the sideline.
I
But,
think
like,
it's Sean McVay.
I agree too.
I think he is a really good coach,
Yeah.
especially on the offense. And he doesn't make the mistake that every other coach makes, and he doesn't let off the gas pedal.
Yeah.
Like he's aggressive the entire time, and he's not gonna be he's not gonna just stay conservative when he's up a score.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's like, we need to go, we need to score.
Mm-hmm.
And of course he's got the weapons there, obviously,
Mm-hmm.
but I mean, geez, like
He doesn't play trestle ball. That's for sure.
you know.
So, but I like it. I love it. I think that those games are so fun to watch, and I want every piece I can of that offense. I want to have it.
One offense this is not talking about the Rams, but another offense I really like to watch is the Kansas City offenses because they are so good, and they do kind of different plays. Like they used Tyreek Hill.
Mhm.
Obviously, I'm wearing his jersey. But Tyreek Hill, dude, they use him. Like, if you watch Tyreek Hill just run around the fucking field, dude, he just different things. Like, they played him where they basically made Tyreek Hill run around the quarterback before the snap even started. Like, it was like, what am I watching? He literally ran from the outside post to around the quarterback all the way back to his spot and then ran a play. I was like, what? Why did he just do that? But it was like,
It's Andy Reid.
That is Andy Reid.
it's just fun to watch because you don't see that kind of offense very often.
I agree. I think we're going to start seeing more of it, to be honest. I think more people are going to start.
And I think we're going to
Coaching
start
that
seeing
way.
a lot more trick plays. I think a
Yeah.
lot more trick plays.
Yeah, I think you could call them trick plays, but like a shuffle pass or something like
Yeah,
to the front or something.
that's what I
Like,
would consider that a trick
I think,
play.
yeah, no, you're right. But I think that's going to be part of like people's standard offense because it works. Like it just throws the defense off and it's so fast.
Mhm.
It's hard to stop. Like and it's a forward pass, so if they drop it, then it's not a fumble. It's just a dead ball.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
it's like which works really well. But I'm excited. They were saying that this has been some of the most points that have been scored in the first
I think
like,
something
4
came
weeks.
out today, yeah, about
Like,
that.
ever in the history of the
Like-
NFL, which is nuts. And I love it because I love seeing all these offensive people like get all these points.
They
and,
came
like,
across the
awesome
sleeper
fans.
bot earlier today. I want to say it was like 3,000
Yeah.
points or something
It's
like
something.
that. That's fucking nuts.
That is.
1,000 points.
Yeah. Throughout the whole league in the last 4
Smokes.
weeks.
Yeah. There's 32
Wow.
teams. I mean,
Yeah,
Yeah.
But that is a shit ton of points. That is a lot of bad defenses.
which brings us into our next point,
Yeah.
Cody.
Good segue.
So, defenses. Since we just talked about how much offensive points are being scored, what the heck do you do about your fantasy defense? A lot of these defenses that we've drafted,
Just pick one out of the basket. Like, unless you got the like you said, the Jags or
Yeah.
the Bears, really.
yeah,
Just draw one out of the hat and just play them because that's what I'm about to start doing because Vikings defense is failing me. It's failing me hard.
I play heavy on
You
my
gotta need it
matchups
for
when it comes to defense. That's how I've been playing this year. Heavy on the matchups.
Just
But just going on to the waiver, look at, comparing against the waiver to my team or my current defense's matchup and picking whichever one's
thing
best.
is, I know that if I drop the Vikings defense, someone's gonna pick them up. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like someone's definitely gonna pick them up. And like, what am I supposed to do? Like, oh my gosh, they've
Yeah, 'cause,
scored
like-
negative points the last 2 weeks.
because like, what are you gonna do? Are you gonna hold two defenses like on your team?
No, not in the standard league. I don't
Yeah.
have room for that. Like,
Exactly.
I don't want to drop any other player for
Exactly.
defense. So they're playing the Eagles this week, and I'm like, like they played. Like, I feel bad for the Vikings almost because we keep saying they're an amazing team, but they're 1-2 right now. I mean, they're supposed to they should be winning a couple of these games. I mean, obviously they're going to lose some, but I mean, the Eagles probably will put up points against them too.
Yeah.
And I'm make the same mistake, play the Vikings defense. They're going to score like 0 again.
Then you just get screwed.
Yeah.
Because
Like,
the
it
other
hurts.
people-
it makes a
your
difference, man.
Person's team you're playing against scores 10 or
Yeah.
something.
I remember I wrote in the power rankings that I did. I was like, yeah, I'm going to like probably win some games because of the Vikings defense. Well, I'm losing games because of the Vikings defense.
Yeah. No, I'm pretty lucky that I got the Bears, and I think they're a plug and play every single week. Like they've been.
They
they've
just
been
have
kinda
they have weapons on their defense.
like, dude, Khalil Mack is a monster.
Yeah.
Like, if the Raiders had him on the team, they'd probably be like maybe 2-2 instead of 1-3. Like, to be completely honest, just that one player might have made that much of a difference.
Doesn't make a difference.
Like,
Who's the other guy on their team that's really hot?
oh, I'm not sure, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't know his name.
Yeah.
I can't remember his name because I mean Mac is really his only
Yeah.
big name person.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's another.
But This even goes to show that, like, maybe in your drafting, you don't even need to take a defense early either, because the Bears were undrafted in pretty much every single league. And then, like, right before the season started, they got Khalil Mack.
That is the mistake I think we come to every year. It's like, ooh, there's going to be a really hot defense.
Yep.
And so somebody's like, you know what, I'll pick them up like 7 or 8. And then you just make that fucking mistake.
Same.
I mean, yeah.
I made that mistake. Because, I mean, you don't know. Like, yeah.
But next
sometimes-
year at draft time, we're all going to be like, ooh, there's that really good
Oh, we will.
defense.
Oh, we will.
And
Yeah.
we're going to be like, well, you might want to pick them up kind of early because the people are going to be taking them. But, dude, I almost hate to play defenses in fantasy anymore.
I was better off not to blame last 2 weeks.
It's true. You would have been had a better score if you didn't play a defense the last 2 weeks. Interesting. But yeah, like Cody was saying, I think the best strategy might be to just play the matchups. Just go for it. If you can stream a defense and get them off the waiver wire, I mean, bye weeks are going to start coming, and people are not going to hold on to 2 defenses. People are going to drop defenses left and right or be moving around them. There's always going to be at least a decent matchup you can go.
I just hate
play.
using my waiver priority for fucking a defense. I hate it.
Yeah, that's the problem, because then you get kind of screwed because you can't go and get a quarterback.
Especially when there's like a week where
Or quarterback, running back or something.
especially when there's a week where like people are not picking anybody up, but then the next week you know people are gonna be picking people up because like this last week now we're getting to buys. Like I just used a waiver wire priority. Now I'm at the back of the pile. You know, coming into bye weeks. You know,
Yep.
it's like fuck.
Yeah.
Come on, like I really could use higher waiver priority right now.
Yeah, I agree.
So that's something to think about in your league. If you're picking up a defense, your waiver priority is you're gonna lose that waiver priority.
But
Yeah.
Food for thought.
all right. So last thing we want to talk about is Edelman, and we already kind of talked about Mark Ingram with Alvin Kamara, but Edelman's coming back. Aaron Jones just got back after his suspension and kind of came to form this week. What do you do with these players that are coming back? Like Devontae Freeman's going to be coming back off of injury. Joe Mixon's going to be coming back off of an injury. These guys are going to be coming back and being ready to go and plug in your lineups. You've had to handle some adversity the last couple weeks and not play them because you can't. But what do you do with these people? Like, I mean, do you just plug and play them in your lineup just based off talent or what? Like,
We talked about Edelman a little bit earlier about how he might cause Tom Brady to he might buffer Tom Brady's stock a little bit because Edelman will come back. But Edelman's old, man. He's going to come back, and I think he's just going to be another wide receiver on the Patriots. He's not going to be Julian Edelman.
Yeah.
Evan Ingram, or not Evan Ingram, Mark Ingram, just another player who's going to come back, and I think they're not Alvin Kamara. He's too hot to really do anything. They're these players on the come back that are very interesting, but I don't think there's anybody who I'm like reaching to get.
I think these are the players that are the most interesting stories because people don't know what to make of them. Like Freeman went down, so early that people, I feel like, have such recency bias that they're willing to forget about like what kind of talent Devontae Freeman is. I mean, the guy's a stud running back, and he's an awesome running back one for you. I mean, but people are like, well, I've had to build my team up, and I haven't been able to use him for like 3 weeks. That's like, well, not one was build a team without him, but I mean, you're going to get this guy back that's going to make your team way better, like for sure. And these are, I think all of those guys are all kind of like buy low candidates, to be honest, because people don't know what they have in them yet. And I'm like, and people have had to go without Mixon for 2 weeks that maybe they don't really miss him as much, or they're hoping that they get him back, but we'll see. I think Mixon's a different talent, though. But
I think I think you can start Ingram. I think you could start Ingram. I think that Edelman, if you really, really need to start a receiver, you can start him. But other than that, you can leave him on the bench and see how he does. That's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to start him. Aaron Jones, I feel like that's all if you really need a run. Like if you really, really need a running back. Like if you have a running back on a bye, I don't even think he's like an automatic start. I just don't have a lot of faith in him yet. Joe Mixon, I think he's an automatic comeback.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think he's automatic. He's good. I think if I had Devontae Freeman, I think I would try to sell him. You would say buy low. I think I would try to sell him high right now.
Yeah.
I think I would honestly see what people would be willing to give me for Devontae Freeman, because you might actually end up getting something really good for Devontae Freeman, and I think you, in the long run, you might actually be better off.
yeah,
I don't know. I just have a feeling the way that Atlanta's offense has been going. I mean, yeah, they're going to play him, but I don't know. Like Devontae Freeman, I don't know how. I just have this weird feeling that he's not going to produce what he has.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just have this feeling. So
you might be right.
it'd be hard to get rid of him, but I'm just saying if you had running backs and you felt good without him, you've been without him, you felt good without him, I'd honestly I'd be curious to see what people give to you for him.
Yeah.
I mean,
No, it's not a bad idea.
maybe you need a receiver. Maybe you really need like a really good receiver.
Yeah.
You can get one for him.
I agree. Oh yeah, you could get a pretty good receiver for him, like pretty damn good. But one thing that I've kind of learned, and I mean I tell myself this every single year, is that running backs are just by far the most valuable thing in fantasy.
Yeah, they are.
Like it's not even a comparison of any other position. Like even we talk about tight ends, but it's not even close about how valuable good running backs are. Like because everybody needs them. Everybody needs them. And when I was like in Dynasty, I was down a quarterback. So Jimmy Garoppolo was my quarterback. He went down. I wanted another viable option. I tried to go and fill out some trades and stuff. Now everybody wanted a freaking quarterback or a freaking running back from me because I have enough running backs to spare and I could trade for one. But nobody was willing to get I don't know. Everybody wants a running back, but nobody's willing to pay for him. Is my kind of thing. I feel like everybody's like, oh well, I'm not gonna make my team worse and stuff. It's like, yeah, but like if you want a running back, like you gotta pay for them, man, because they don't come.
Oh yeah.
I think this is
Growing
a repeating
trees.
pattern for every single position, and I think it's just because it's early in the season. I think coming into the next couple of weeks, people are going to be trade happy with buys and everything coming up.
No, you're right, but
I definitely think that things will get interesting, and people will finally start to be like, all right, like it's like Chase with Tyreek Hill, like refuses to even. You could throw in, you could like say, hey, I'll give you Alvin Kamara. He'd be like, no, probably not, but I'm just an example.
yeah.
Like, come on, man.
I think people, and I'm probably a person who does this as well, but I think there's people that if you have them on your team, you value them so much more than what like an outside person would value them.
Yep.
Like, and I think there's been like a psychological study been done about this, but like if you own it, you value them because you know what they mean to your team.
Especially for
Like,
people, especially for people who play multiple leagues, who have people in multiple leagues. Like, I mean, we all play at least 3 leagues. Like, I have people who I have in all 3 leagues, and it's like I really like that person.
Yeah.
If they have a really shitty week, I have a really shitty week. Like, that's the way it happens.
Yeah.
But.
No, but I agree. But if that's my thing is like. On the waiver wire, you just got to keep looking for those running backs and just try and find them. But if you have the wide receiver depth to go and trade for them when it gets later on in the season, and somebody really needs a wide receiver, but they have plenty of running backs, give up your good wide receiver to go get them because you can find a decent wide receiver on the waiver wire so much easier than what you can a running back. It's not even close. Like there's been plenty of wide receivers you could go and grab that are sitting like on our waiver wire right now, you could go and look at the running backs compared to the wide receivers, and you're like, I could pick up this wide receiver and probably play them. They'd be okay.
Yeah, you can't.
Like,
Yeah.
you can't do that with a running back. Like, you really can't. It's not close.
No.
So, but all right. Anything else, gentlemen? All right. So that's it for today's podcast. Go ahead and give us a follow on Twitter at Beer League FB. Go ahead, if you're listening to us or watching us on YouTube, give us a like, hit the subscribe button. We really appreciate it. Helps us out a ton. Really appreciate your time, guys. We're loving what we do here every week, and we'll be doing it the rest of this season. So take care, guys, and good luck in your fantasy weeks. Beer League!
Beer League.